Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast, part of the Bet Rivers Network. We come to you after game two as the Knicks now move solidly on their way towards the championship series. The only question now will be the resistance that Cleveland offers in game three, because if they don't win the next two games, the series will end in five. Um, as the Knicks basically matter of factly in the second half pulled away. Cleveland in the first half did some things pretty well. Uh, they got a good first half out of Mobley and Allen, who have size advantages over the Knicks. Knicks don't match up well with Mobley and Allen, but Mobley and Allen did absolutely nothing in the second half. Nothing. And Cleveland relied on Mitchell and relied on their guards, and they got nothing. And they relied on their bench. And, the old adage is that role players play in the NBA, that your players, the idea is that your two stars, and UB Brown was the one who first told me this many, many years ago. Your two stars should play well anywhere. Your numbers one and two guys, you're Jordan Pippen. Your number one and two guys should score anywhere. They should score at home. They score on the road. They score on the moon. In the playoffs, players 3 through 7, which is really the bulk of your team, normally play much better at home and shoot much better at home than they do on the road. Tonight, a perfect example of that, as Cleveland got absolutely nothing from the bench, but nothing from their 3-point scorers. Struss 1 for 4 from 3, 1 for 7 from the floor. Merrill 0 for 7 from 3, 1 for 8 from the floor. Traded 2 for 5. Tyson 1 for 4. Wade 1 for 3. Add all those guys up. You got 2 for 10, 3 for 18, 5 for 23, 6 for 27. That's not going to cut it. And from 3, 2 for 7, 2 for 14, 2 for 15, 2 for 18. Not going to work. Not going to work. And that was the difference. Now, the Knicks have gone after Harden. We know that. And that has actually taken a little of the steam off the idea of teams going after Brunson, which they will. And Cleveland has to also, because as much as Harden's a defensive liability, so is Brunson a defensive liability. Now, the bottom line is they decided they were going to let Hart, who has been really bad outside, let him shoot. And tonight, Hart filled it up. The Knicks had 32 assists because Brunson had a big passing night. He only scored 2 points in the first half. He wound up with 19 points for the game, but he also had 14 assists, which is a career high in the playoffs. They had 32 assists on 44 baskets, and Hart was 5 for 11 from 3. And those were absolute daggers that spread the lead because they kept leaving Hart wide open, and Hart kept knocking down threes. Now, usually you expect nobody to knock down threes. He hasn't been the same offensive player. But remember, tonight, you got ultra consistency out of the Knicks starting five. The 5 guys were between plus 18 and plus 22. And they scored between 14 points, which was Anunoby, to 26 points, which was Hart. 14, 18, 19, 19, 26. Bridges, 19 points on the incredibly economical 9 for 12 from the field. He's adding good defense. He's plus 20, throwing 3 rebounds, 3 assists, good defense, no turnovers, and you have a tremendous game out of Bridges again. Hart with 26 points, a career high. Towns gave you 18 points and 13 rebounds, although he didn't have a lot of assists tonight. Brunson winds up with 19, didn't shoot it well, 1 for 7 from 3, 7 for 16 overall, but 19 points, 14 assists. Now, on the other side, Mitchell gets 26 points, but wasn't a great game. Harden had 18 points, 6 for 15 from the floor. Again, he's got to guard somebody. They tried to put him on Anunoby tonight. Anunoby didn't try to beat him to the basket that many times, but he could have if he wanted to. Mobley did nothing in the second half. Allen had 9 at the half, wound up with 13. They missed tonight. They missed uh, 26 threes, and they missed 10 foul shots. And the Knicks shot 50% from the floor, passed the ball well, didn't turn the ball over, only had 6 turnovers. And despite the fact they got beat up on the offensive glass, that was mostly in the first 20, 15, 20 minutes of the game. It was not in the second half. And the Knicks surged out in the third quarter and then just held sway the rest of the way. It got to 88-80. You thought maybe they were going to make a comeback. They didn't. They weren't able to hit the shots. And again, they're role players. They're guys that they expect to score from the perimeter. Guys like Struss and Merrill and guys like that did absolutely nothing. Now, they have a couple of things they can do. It's not like they don't have any talent. They do. It's not like they couldn't turn around and play well in game 3. I think they could. But the Knicks are a really good road team. And the Knicks are playing with a passion, with a defense, with a cohesiveness that they're not fooling around here. If they can get this over with, they're gonna get it over with. The only chance this is a series now is if Cleveland wins the next 2 games. Is Cleveland capable of winning the next 2 games? Absolutely. Do I think Cleveland will win the next 2 games? I don't. I think they could win game 3. I think if it's 3-0, you always wonder about that game as the intensity level of game 4 when it's 3-love. So I think Cleveland will win a game in Cleveland. I think there will be a game 5 in this series, but I think most likely this will be a 5-game series as the Knicks will wait and probably get some rest again because now injuries are a big factor in the OKC San Antonio series. And we don't know who's very healthy yet. We'll see as we find out about Harper, we find out about Williams, etcetera. But that series looks to me like it's destined for 7 games. It just does. I mean, every game is now they're the 2 best teams. And Wemby is a generational talent that is just starting to come into his own. And there's talent. Remember, Fox hasn't even played yet. You know, they need Fox to be there. Castle's really good, but you cannot have anybody turning the ball over 10 times a game in the playoffs. That cannot happen. He's turned the ball over 20 times in 2 games. That's an insane number of turnovers. It's a hideous number of turnovers. You cannot turn the ball over that many times. But the bottom line is they cause OKC problems because of what Wemby can do. They impact the OKC scoring of not just one player, of basically 4 players when Wemby's on the floor. So it dramatically changes things. Now they have to get more consistent in the backcourt, and if they play consistently in the backcourt, they are gonna be very, very tough to handle in that series. Like I said, I think OKC is gonna win that series. I think it probably is gonna go 7 games. I think they'll find a way to win the 7th game. Now, as good as Wemby is, and he is crazy good, generationally good, I think the Knicks match up better against San Antonio than they do against OKC for a variety of reasons, which there's no reason to get into now. Let's wait till they see who they play. Do I think the Knicks are going to the finals? I do. Do you want to get overconfident now? No. Take it one game at a time. Win game 3. Knicks don't want to fool around with this. This has been too long in the making. There's no smugness. There's no arrogance. There's no blasé attitude from the Knicks. Well, we're up 2-0 and we keep winning and we're better than Cleveland, which is all true. But when you have suffered and struggled as long as the Knicks franchise has, there's no way you play this with any attitude less than in full intensity, full effort, full defensive effort, dedicated offensive effort, the cohesiveness that they have found since the trouble in the Atlanta series. Don't fool around with this. Don't have an attitude because you stole a game, 1. This series should be 1-1. Cleveland gave up a game that, listen, they're going to think about it the all off season. That's a game they never, ever, ever forget that the Knicks made the great comeback. Forget what Brunson did. Forget what Bridges did. Forget what Shamet did. The bottom line is they had to have every play. I mean, there's like 10 plays that had to break their way. The ball had to go in the hole after it bounced around and bounced up and went around. Their shots had to fall out. They had to miss free throws. They had to do this. They had to do that. All these things had to happen. If one of them didn't, they wouldn't have won that game. That's how small their margin was when they were down 22 with 7 minutes to play. So they stole that game. And Cleveland does have some advantages in this series if they play to them. I am always very puzzled by Cleveland's lack of defensive intensity. I'm always very puzzled by an almost air of indifference from Cleveland. I'm always very puzzled by the fact that their bigs are in, they're out. They're in, they're out. They're great for 5 minutes, they're terrible for 10 minutes. They're invisible for 15 minutes, and they're great for 10 minutes. Something is not right with this team. And to me, listen, I'm going to blame Harden. The world's blaming Harden. I've never been a Harden guy. I don't like Harden. I don't like the way he plays. I don't like the way he acts. I don't like anything about him. I never have. I think he's been a divisive, disruptive, bad influence on teams. And the record illustrates that dramatically. But I can't blame him for everything that's happening here. I'm not blaming him because the guys coming off the bench who usually are mad bombers can't make a 3. I can't blame them when Mobley, comes out and is basically unstoppable in the first quarter and doesn't touch the ball the rest of the game. I can't get involved in that. Okay. Those are things I can't answer. I mean, there's things there that are just absolutely puzzling. There's no way around them. They're just puzzling. I mean, Mobley was dominating the game early on. Why does he only take 8 shots in the game when he is doing what he was doing in the first half? He has a huge length advantage over the Knicks. He can go out and stick a 3. He can do a lot of things. He can go to the basket. He's got a size advantage. He's got a mobility advantage. He's got a lot of advantages. He and Allen can dominate, which they did at times in the first half of this game. I mean, Allen had 11 points and 9 rebounds in the first half and wound up with 13 and 10. Mobley had 12 points, maybe 14 at half. I think he had 12 at half, my recollection. and he wound up with 14. They dominated in the first half. They didn't touch the ball in the second half. They didn't rebound in the second half. They had nothing to do with the second half. Makes no sense. Play to your strengths. In the playoffs, you must play to your strengths. You must execute. And there must be intensity, and a lot of that is missing from Cleveland. But there should be nothing in the way of talk about the finals. There should be nothing in the way of smugness from the Knicks or an air of confidence from the Knicks. Nothing. Do the work. There's plenty of time to celebrate when the finals have been achieved. They're not achieved yet. And don't let this team out of the bag because they could get out of the bag. They could get out of the bag. They are incredibly erratic. But when you think they're going to be at their worst, they will be at their best. They have ability to make shots. They have ability to score. They have guards that can go off. They have bigs that can be a matchup problem. They have guys off the bench who can make threes. They have guys who can do this. So game 3 should be labeled as dangerous and nothing short of that. And the last thing the Knicks want to do is let this team back out, let this team out of the bag and back into the series. The series should be 1-1 right now. It's not. It's 2-0 because Cleveland just absolutely choked up a game that they had completely won. Completely won. I mean, to me, the headline of that game was so much more. Not that the Knicks didn't do wondrous things. They did. Brunson made baskets against Harden, who never should have been on him. And then Shamet made 3 huge shots. And you saw Hart. Mike Breen talked tonight about how Hart was upset that he was on the bench and how he worked and worked on that threes. And maybe that's why the threes went down tonight because he wanted to show his coach, hey, I can make those open threes. You don't have to take me off the floor. And he didn't like being off the floor. He said, I'm a team guy. I want to win. I'll do whatever the team does. And if the team does well, great. Well, the team did great. And Shamet was the guy. But you know what? He didn't like being off the floor. Nor would he. If I were in his role, I wouldn't like being off the floor either. I want to play. I want to contribute. I want to use my energy. I want to win. And tonight, in a game that was an easy win, they went from 31 to 40 minutes. They had plus 18s to 22s, and they scored between 14 and 26 points. So they all contributed. This wasn't a bench game. Shamet didn't score in 14 minutes. McBride was 2 for 9 in 14 minutes. They didn't need the bench tonight. They did not need the bench tonight. This was a starting unit game, a starting unit that played like a well-oiled machine that made shots. Okay, the 5 of them made 5, 6, 7, 10, 12 threes in 12, 19, 12 for 26 from 3. 11, 12, 19, 12 for 28 from 3. They passed the ball well. Hart had 7 assists, Bridges had 3, Brunson had 14, Anunoby had 3. There's 14, 21, 24, 25, 28 assists out of the starting unit. They had 7, 10, 23 27 rebounds out of the starting unit. And they got 14 to 26 points out of each of the guys in the starting unit, with all but one of them shooting over 50%. Efficiency. Doing the job on defense, doing the job on offense, not turning the ball over, sharing the basketball, hitting the open man, doing the things that have to be done, contributing when it's your turn to contribute. When they get that kind of performance out of Bridges and that kind of performance out of Hart, they're not gonna get beat. Because you know they're gonna get a certain level out of Brunson every night. They're gonna get a certain level out of Towns every night, and Anunoby is just starting to get back to being who he is. He hasn't looked like he did in the first couple of rounds yet, but he will. Tonight he was 5 for 8 from the floor. He was 2 for 9 in game 1. He was 5 for 8 tonight. He was 2 for 4 from 3. He's still not the dynamic shooter he was early in the playoffs because he's just doesn't feel it yet, but he's getting better. He's getting stronger. He's getting better. He will be there. Now, they're gonna have matchup problems in the final. We know that when they get there. But let's not even talk about the final yet. I don't even wanna talk about the final yet. Just go about your business right now and and win game 3. Take all the drama out of the series. Don't let them have a life, because if you do with that team, you could regret it. Because that team is not bereft of talent. It is not bereft of size. It's not bereft of the guys who can score. They got guys who can hang a 40 on you. They have guys who can make a bunch of threes. They have ability. They can be dangerous. They are very odd. They are very hard to figure, but they are not without ability. If you're looking for a betting angle, check out the top picks news feed in your BetRivers app. The BetRivers Banter news feed is filled with picks from the BetRivers network personalities and from handicappers, so it gives you a little different insights from different folks. So tap the top picks icon in your BetRivers app to get the latest tips and use them to your advantage in making your own selections, which is the fun part. Anyway, now Mets get a W. Hang on, split the series. Okay. You would have liked to win 3 out of 4 because you would have liked to win the game where you had a 5-0 lead and McLean on the mound. You didn't. So, but you won 2 out of 4. The Yankees get beat the back couple of games. Judge is in a rare slump. A lot of strikeouts. No RBIs in his last 10 games. Hitting 184 in his last 10 games. I mean, it's rare when Judge has one of these. Now, maybe with Tampa in tomorrow, and Tampa's had such a great season so far and has pitched insanely well. The Yankees struck out a lot in the series, 48 times in the 4-game series. Judge is such an ultra consistent player that when he has a run where he strikes out 7 times in a row, and he has this kind of run where he's I'll give you 2 streaks here. He's 11 for 56. 11 for his last 56, which is 196 with a 339 slug with 3 RBIs, and he has struck out 22 of those 56 at bats. Now, in the last 7 games, he is 4 for 27. Now, I just told you in his last 10 games, he's hit 184 with no RBIs and 13 strikeouts. In his last 7 games, he's 4 for 27 with no RBIs and 11 strikeouts. So he has hit a very, very rough patch in the season over 10 games. His batting average is down to 250. His OPS for him is down to 935. Perish the thought. He still has 16 home runs and 30 RBIs. So it's not like he's not on pace to have, you know, 50 homers and 130 RBIs. But you're not used to seeing this kind of slump out of him. Does he break out with a first inning homer tomorrow? Who knows? I'm sure he does sometime this weekend. I doubt this will go much longer, but that is highly unusual. Highly unusual to see him go, 56 at bats and strike out 22 times and hit 190, have a 10-game streak where he does not have one RBI and he has a 184 batting average and 13 strikeouts. He struck out 7 times in a row in this series. So he has hit a tough patch. Obviously, as he goes, they go. Rice has become a great, great sidekick with his power and the numbers he's put up, which are so impressive. But, and we'll see, everyone talks about Grisham and how they don't want him and this and that until he's gone. And then, you wind up missing him. We'll see how long he's out. We don't know yet. Rice has had a tremendous start to the season. Bellinger's always solid. Chisholm's come on a little bit, although not today. Today was a tough one. 4 at bats, 4 strikeouts. They've struck out a bunch lately. They got some real outs in the bottom of their lineup. They've got to figure out what to do. Now, Jones so far has come up and in 24 at bats, he has 4 hits, 2 RBIs, no homers, 12 strikeouts. That's about him. Now, we haven't seen him, hit one 500 feet yet, which I'm sure we will. Somebody will make a mistake. He's going to strike out a lot. He's going to walk some. He's going to strike out a lot. He's going to eventually connect a couple. Is he Joey Gallo? I don't know. Is he better than Joey Gallo? I think so. He's not a bad looking player, but that swing is going to strike out a lot. His approach, he's going to strike out a lot. There's just no way around it. And right now, and with Wells doing what he's doing, McMahon's done a little better, but his offense is always struggling. Let's be honest. As good as he plays defensively, his offense is always struggling. Him hitting 192, Jones hitting 167, Wells just in the middle of nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. What's going on with Wells? I mean, what they're getting out of the catcher spot is a joke. As Tampa comes in, and give Tampa so much credit for what they've done. The 33-15. They've opened up a 6-game lead in the loss column on the Yankees. They have pitched incredibly well this year. So, very interesting. Very interesting weekend series with Cole back on the hill tomorrow night. Now, the weather, I know the weather, they don't like to give you, they always don't give you the most accurate forecasts for the Memorial Day weekend. In that, when they have a Memorial Day weekend where there's a chance that all 4 days are going to be bad, they'll never tell you that because they don't want you to cancel your weekend. They want you to go where you're going because it's a big deal to the economy. There's a lot of rain in the forecast. Tomorrow's a cold day. The next couple of days, there's a lot of rain in the forecast. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I know things that we had planned that already canceled for weather and rescheduled. That's how bad the forecast is. So gonna be a lot of rain this weekend. We'll see what happens. Hey, you'll survive if it is. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's kind, the weather's kind of weird. It was 95 the other day, and now this morning it was freezing. That's the way it goes. But right now, think about it this way: you are 2 games away from the NBA Finals. Think about that. Think about all the days and years of frustration and realize you are 2 games away from the NBA Finals. Keep your eye on the prize, and the Knicks have to do the same thing. We'll see you later.